year after year, we see gun trends, and there's always certain guns that everybody's after. Everybody's got to get that next new thing. But there's one particular gun that millions of Americans are secretly buying. And I want to say it's not actually a brand of gun, and it's not even a model of a gun. It's a self-defense gun that they're ashamed to own. What we're seeing is millions of Americans who are very anti-Second Amendment are now buying guns. But they don't want anybody to know about it because it's, of course, hypocritical. And we began to see this in 2019. There was this massive surge of millions of new gun owners who swore they would never own a gun, hated guns, didn't want to touch a gun, but all of a sudden thought to themselves, I need a gun. And that's really the kind of the place that people come to, really anybody that's carrying, even myself. You know, I wasn't born thinking I need a gun. There was just a point in my young adult life where I looked around at this world around us and I realized I need a gun. The difference is I wasn't ashamed of it. And that's what we're seeing is millions of Americans are secretly going into gun stores without letting their families know or their neighbors know or their friends know, and they're continuing to speak out against owning guns, but yet they own a gun. So what is this? Well, again, I think what it is ultimately is there's a point where everybody who owns a gun comes to, where they recognize the need and they really have no other choice at that point. Once you recognize the need for a gun, the need for a gun is very different than like the need for a car. The need for a car, for example, is something that you're like, well, I got to get from point A to point B. The need for a gun is the preservation of life. It's a very different thing. But what they have been preaching for their whole young adult life is they've been preaching this idea that guns kill and guns kill these people and there wouldn't be so many murders if there weren't guns. But they're realizing that because of what they see with their eyes, the harm that is out in this world, that they're thinking, well, I need a gun. Like if everybody else has a gun, I certainly need one. Criminals have them. Aha, now we have a big aha moment in America. And this is coming across millions of Americans. I would be willing to bet that somebody that you know that is very anti-gun and very anti-Second Amendment owns a gun. And I'd also be willing to bet that they purchased that gun in the last 24 months, secretly, because they don't want to be hypocrites. I don't blame them. But the reality is the Second Amendment not only preserves my right to own a firearm, but it preserves their right to own a firearm that they're also enjoying as they preach out against this. So there you go. The gun that millions of Americans are secretly buying right now is a self-defense gun. And they're all after it, but they just don't want to simply admit it because it goes against all their ideologies that they've been talking about for the last several years. And it's hard to bring that stuff back. It's hard to sit there and preach out against something and go, well, wait a second, I actually need that thing now. I get it. But you know, there was a point in my life where my views changed, not on guns, but like I've looked at certain things and politics in the world, and my view has changed. It's different now than it was then. And it's okay. It's okay to be a new gun owner. There's nothing wrong with it. Just be responsible and welcome to the responsible ownership of firearms. It's a beautiful thing. Any thoughts or insight on that, definitely put that below. Now, I would like to say that most people that watch this channel are not subscribers to this channel. Please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get our message out. That link is below. But the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. Please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.